You're listening to Radio Cosmos.
All night long.
Bravo! My compliments, little lady.
Come on, Sean.
Break for 30 seconds.
You are now listening to BaaD Radio.
Hello and welcome as we launch into the second hour of BaaD Radio. BaaD stands for Business at a Distance. This is a show about local businesses and business networking. And we are here in the News Radio WFLA Orlando studios from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Sunday. And I am super excited to have Joselyn with Branding by Jo back in the studio. I chickened out on your last name. Sorry.
That's okay. Not a problem.
Espejo.
You got it.
You
nailed it.
Very good.
Thank you so much for having me back.
Oh, I you know what? Because I've been seeing like all your new stuff on social. And so that's why I called you, because I was like, she's got a lot of stuff going on. So I wanted to talk about it. And so you're like, okay, I can make that work, which is awesome. So let's just give everybody like a little bit of a reminder of what your business is. So it's called Branding by Jo. And when you describe your business, how do you tell people what you do?
I think my favorite thing to say is I help business owners discover their confidence on camera so that they can elevate their branding.
Okay.
And so a lot of people think branding is a logo, colors, maybe a website, but there's so much more that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
And especially with small businesses, a lot of people want to see the face behind the business.
Mm-hmm.
And so I help people get their face out there.
I'm curious, are women much more open to this than men?
Yes, but the men are easier to work with.
Oh, I bet. I bet 100%.
So I think it's just the confidence thing. Like the clients that come in are like, Jo, I trust you, and anything you say, I'm game.
Mm-hmm.
It works. The ones that are like, I think that I'd rather, or I like this pose better. I'm like, all right, we can collaborate. But the people that just come in are like, all right, you just tell me and let's run with it. It works out.
Well, that's got to show a tremendous amount of trust.
Yeah.
So what do you do to get that kind of trust, other than like you and I are in a BNI chapter? So that's how I know. And I've also seen a ton of your work because I follow you. And so I see when stuff gets posted. But I mean, just with taking the networking part out of it, how do you establish that trust?
I think it's just talking to people and listening.
Mm-hmm.
And so then getting to know my clients. So all of my sessions, when we're doing our brand experience or the bigger ones, I actually do a planning call and a strategy session call with my clients.
Okay.
So I take a deep dive into their business. I find out who they are, what are they trying to offer, what are they serving, and then a piece of it is telling their story. So I like to add personal touches in. So I spend time getting to really know who they are. And then I say that making people feel comfortable on camera is one of my superpowers. And I think it's just because I make it relatable. And I also know what it's like to not be comfortable on the other side. So I don't just assume. I don't expect anyone to be a model. I don't expect you to know exactly what to do. All I ask is that you show up and be ready to have some fun with me. And then we have a plan, so you're not completely in the dark as far as like what to expect. Mm-hmm. And then we just have fun. Listen to some music. I like to laugh and joke, and I think that's the piece. It's just, it becomes a fun experience, not so much like about the photos. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of it, a lot of my clients even forget there's photos coming. Like, they're like, that experience was so much fun. Right? I had such a great day. I'm like, all right, so next steps, I'm going to send you the proof gallery. And they're like, oh, yeah.
Oh, I forgot that I'm actually doing this
photos.
for something. Well, that's really amazing.
Yeah.
How did you even get started in this? I mean, your background is in photography, I'm guessing.
I actually have a background in operations management. So,
all right. That's not what I was thinking, but okay.
Right. I went to school, got a degree, got my master's, did operations management for about 16 years. Mm-hmm. But I had a camera in my hand since I was a kid. Okay. And just always loved taking pictures. And somewhere along the way, a friend of mine from college called and asked if I would take pictures of her brother's wedding. And I was like, not a professional. Mm-hmm. And it was me or no one. And so tried it, booked 2 more weddings after posting pictures, and then was like, oh, maybe this is something I could do. So started out as a side hustle. Did that for about 10 years on the side, and then finally realized that trying to do corporate America and raise the kids in the way that I wanted wasn't working. Mm-hmm. Got the courage to just decide to try to make myself successful instead of somebody else successful, and gave it a go. And I did family for a long time. And then the headshots and the branding kind of just fell in my lap. Somebody called and said, do you do headshots? I said no. After about the 4th call in the same week, I thought,
like, why am I turning down all this business?
Maybe I should look into it. And then I just, in a networking group, I was friends with a lot of women who were starting their own businesses or had their own businesses, and realized they could use the photos.
Right.
So, did branding before it was really a thing. Like branding photography has really grown, and then just really niched into it. One, because niching down into your business really helps because you can just focus on one client, one subject, one avatar.
Right.
But then it also had the benefit of I get to marry all of my business experience and my knowledge from that with the creative side.
There you go. Yeah, that's
And then
kind of cool.
It's very conducive for the life that I want to live right now. So I can do shoots and all the things during business hours because all of my clients are business people, which frees up my nights and weekends to be with the kids.
Yeah. No, you want to have the family. I mean, that's the way I am too. I've always worked in corporate America, which had allowed me to be home on the nights and the weekends. And even running BaaD Marketing now, I can still manage what I need to manage for my family time.
Yeah.
It's the flexibility. So listen, so this is what I think about photography. I love photography. I didn't grow up with a camera in my hand, but I love taking photos of people. It makes me very excited. I know zero about cameras and settings, and how do you like take courses on like how to learn how to run the cameras? I mean, there's like so many settings and lighting and all the things. It's not as easy as just picking up a camera and hitting a button.
So the joke between professional photographers is when we hear like, oh, your camera takes such great pictures. And I'm like, thanks. I taught her everything she knows.
Oh, do you say that?
And I haven't done it yet. And I keep joking about how I want to do reel or something with all of the pictures that my camera takes. So when I accidentally like hit the shutter or when it hits my hip or something, and it just takes a picture, like a random picture. So I want to show what that looks like. But yes, I did courses. A lot of it's been self-taught, trial and error, standing there going, that's not what I want it to look like.
Right.
So what do I need to adjust? So I've done some courses. I didn't go to college for it, but I've done some courses. I've done some lighting courses, just learning from other people that have already learned how to do it so that I don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Right.
And then adding my own tweaks.
Well, see, because it's intimidating to me, like picking up a camera and seeing all the different dials and settings. And like I said, it's intimidating to me. And even like learning or understanding where to put people for lighting situations and shadows. And I never thought about any of it. And then like, I was like, because with BaaD Marketing, I'll offer doing like some photos of whatever they're doing, like an electrician, I'll take pictures of his workers doing stuff. But I'm always like, these are only pictures that are for social media, like action kind of things, and website. I'm like, I will never say that I'm a photographer. You can blow this up and make it really beautiful and do all the things like that, because I'm scared. Like I'm not a photographer, but I enjoy taking a photo and looking at it and being like, wow, that looks really cool in this setting. Like it looks like something that you would pull from, what is it? Like not clip art.
Like Shutterstock or one of those like stock images.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, but that's why it's like, I'm just too intimidated by all the functions of the camera. So how did you like come down? Like, how did you decide which camera you want to use that works best for what your business?
So I think when you hear people, and we kind of all get into a camera that we like. So started with Canon. Somebody had told me about it. I liked it. One of the benefits of Canon is that you can switch out the lenses and they work on different bodies.
Okay.
So that was a plus for me. And then just research. I think it's anything like tools of the trade.
What did you start with? Did you start with people right away, or animals, or like your background?
I mean, I guess I started with people. I started professionally weddings, which then led to families and, newborns and all those pieces. But yeah, I mean, I think if I look back and I just had a regular camera, I started with the disposable ones, and then there was film, and then all of those pieces. And then
we went through the Polaroid stage.
Yes. And then when the digital cameras come out, it's almost like buying a laptop. You just start doing research based on what your personal preference is. So I'm an Apple girl. So everything is Mac and Apple related.
Yeah. Not me. I try to go the Mac way, and
I think what's funny is in corporate, I used a Dell or whatever, HP. And so it's still an adjustment when it comes to like doing emails and all that stuff with the Mac versus what I used to do. But then with the camera, same thing. My best friend is a brand photographer in Denver, and she shoots Nikon. I shoot Canon, but it's just a preference. And then as they come out with new stuff, you start to look and see. And right now I'm looking at upgrading, and I'm like, ooh, what's my next toy?
Okay, well, we're going to run to break, but when we get back, we'll talk more about that. So everybody stay tuned. We have more BaaD Radio coming up. Welcome back, and this portion is brought to you by Frogger's Grill and Bar. Looking for a place to go with friends or meet new ones? Then you're looking for Frogger's Grill and Bar. And I'm going to go off script a little bit just because they have a promotion coming up, and it is for the big game because we can't say the other word there. But the big game is going to be February 9th. And so there's a couple things that they're doing because it's 59. It's Super Bowl. I'm going to say it anyway. You know what? Nobody cares. Super Bowl 59, right? And so they have 59-cent wings and 59-cent pints of Bud and Bud Light for the first quarter or until the first team scores. Okay. So if you think about it, depending on how that first quarter goes, you could have a heck of a deal. And then we're also doing we're doing big prize giveaways. They have like 65-inch TVs and all sorts of other stuff. And that is at all 4 locations, which is Mount Dora, Apopka, Altamont Springs, and Oviedo. So that's Frogger's hopping with food and fun.
Yeah, boy.
Think like that. So we're here with Joe with Branding by Joe, and I think I kind of went off of what you were expecting for me to go because I'm like cameras.
I love it.
But I'm interested in like when I talk to business owners, I like to hear like the backstory of where did you come up with the inspiration to get to where you are today, and so you saying, well, I grew up with a camera in my hand and the evolution of it. I like Canons. Like these are Canons here, but we use those primarily for the filming, for the YouTubes. And they work great and I understand them, but I understand auto.
I mean, it works great.
I understood like auto settings and stuff like that. I don't understand anything.
Well, there's so many things you can manipulate. And I think it just comes down to being an art. So I'm not an artist as far as if you give me a paintbrush, I can't make it look anything. You don't want to see it. But if it comes with a camera, all of the extra settings, the auto is fantastic for someone who just wants to try to manipulate the best that it can do on its own. But there's so much that you can adjust and change, and you can tell stories that way. And that's why for me, it allows so much freedom. And so I can adjust the depth of field. So if I want you to really stand out, then I can change the settings to make you pop. Or sometimes right now, especially when I'm creating content for social media, I still want your face to be in it, but sometimes I want to be creative. And it's like, we want to subtly show that you're there, but we're telling a different story. So then I can make like your laptop be in focus, but then you're blurry. Auto doesn't always allow you to do that. And so it's just being able to manipulate the picture.
That's very interesting.
So that you can tell a different story.
And do you focus just primarily on business?
Yeah. So I'm just business, and most of my clients are female business owners.
Okay.
And honestly, it's just driven by really wanting people to succeed. And I want to give them the tools so that they can have the confidence to show up and start promoting themselves. And it's just, a lot of times we'll create something and we'll be like, my website's up. Okay. But if no one knows you exist, they're not going to find you. So you have to be able to get out there and promote yourself. And if you want to do networking, that's fantastic. We both know how successful that can be.
Absolutely.
But that can also only get you so far because you're now limiting it to the room that you can get to. I call it the boots on the ground. Well, how much boots on the ground can you do to get your business to the level that you want to get to? So then branding comes in, and I say that it allows you to do the work when you're not in the room.
Okay.
So it's using tools and channels so that you can expand your visibility, your credibility, and it doesn't require you to physically be there.
So what makes people get worried the most? I know that they don't think that they can take a good picture. And that's
that's the most common one I hear is I don't love to be on camera. And I'm like, okay, if I had $1 for every time I heard it or said it, I don't love it either. I would be rich. Planning, a lot of people don't even know. So I think that's where it comes into the fear of being on camera. What am I going to wear? And where do I shoot? And then once I do, I don't even know what I'm trying to do with this, right? And so that's another common fear is that people get into the overwhelm of all of that we're hearing. So when you're a business owner, it's all the information. It's almost like a fire hydrant of you shoulds. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. You should be doing this. And it's overwhelming. And so I think sometimes people get analysis paralysis where they're just like, I don't even know where to start.
Right. Exactly.
So then I'm just not gonna. And then they get caught up in that.
I would say like wardrobe would be a big one too. So how do you work it out? Do you give like, is it kind of like packages where you get like 3 wardrobe changes and like tell us about how you structure doing a session with you?
My most popular one is what I call a brand experience. And so it's a half-day session. It includes 4 outfit changes. I have a professional stylist on my team. So my clients will all work with her virtually. And it starts with a questionnaire. What do you like to wear? Where do you like to shop? What's your sizes? And then based on what we're planning out for your session, I'll let her know, okay, these are the looks that we're going for. Whether it's good. So if it's a coach, I need her to be able to have this trustworthy, presentable look. And then, oh, she's a speaker. So let's get her some looks that would be appropriate for her being in a workshop on stage.
Okay.
That kind of thing. And then she works with my clients and literally helps them pick out
Like
everything.
shopping together?
She does it online.
Oh,
and so then
okay.
she'll send you a style guide and say, shop your closet. Or if you want to shop and buy new, you click on the picture and it will take you to a link to a place that you like to shop that, if you do it in a timely manner, has your size in stock, and you can just buy it. So
I'm
it's
like
both
an Ann
options.
Taylor girl all the way. Loft is like my jam.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know why, but sometimes I walk in there and I'm just like, "Rrr," but I always tend to find, if you go through my closet, 90% of everything in there is Loft.
Well, and I think it comes into being confident. So you know that there's certain outfits that when you put them on, you stand a little straighter. You feel a little bit
Right.
more like I'm on today. I've got this. Versus if you put that outfit on that you're like, I don't know. It's harder to fight that. So having my clients know like that they're confidently in something. And then I think this is where a lot of people go wrong. It's all about the colors and being on brand. So you can absolutely send the wrong message subconsciously by being in the wrong thing. And I think that's a piece that people are like, oh, I love that picture, but it's still not relating to the people that I want to attract. And so what you're wearing, the colors that you're wearing, the styles, the fabrics, all of that has a meaning. And we're subconsciously telling people something by what we have on.
Really? What's your favorite? Where do you shop?
So I love the Loft. I love Express.
I don't even see an Express anymore.
Yeah, it's online. I mean, I
Okay.
think they have one in Altamont and maybe the Florida Mall.
I think there's over
but
one in
I shop
Waterford
online.
Lakes. Yeah.
Yes.
All online. Yeah.
Express and Waterford Lakes has one. But I think online, shopping is just a luxury of time that I don't want to take.
I don't get to either. I would always go for candles, but they don't have the Bath and Body in the Oviedo Mall anymore. So I haven't been shopping it a lot.
It's also, it just shifts. And so, but I will say sometimes like when I do my own style guides with my stylist, when I go to do my own shoots, I do the same thing. So I walk through the same process when I do my brand stuff that I put my clients through. And it's been nice. Sometimes I have gone to the store, but a lot of times what I do is I'll do for in-store pickup so that it's already there. I just walk in, I try it on, and then I say yes or no, and then I go home.
Well, your new ones are absolutely beautiful. I was like, that's my wolf whistle. I was like, Joe, you're looking good. So tell me about that new look.
Oh, goodness. I think it's just coming into my own. Like, just kind of working through really finding some confidence to show up unapologetically.
Yeah.
This is who I am.
Well, you're a stunning woman. And,
thank you.
And it shows. And and that's what I see in that. I see confidence. And I'm like, okay, she's stepping outside of like the comfort zone, the mom, the soccer mom or the football mom or whatever mom it is. It's like, hey, I'm a woman.
That's exactly what I told my stylist. I said, listen, I'm ready to kind of step outside of the t-shirts and jeans. That was fun for a little while because I feel like I did the whole swing. So when I was in corporate, it was heels and suits and that look. And then I left corporate and I was like, that's all done. And then I went to this like jeans and t-shirts. That's what I want. And then I realized it just didn't feel like it aligned. I was like, okay, so now I need practical because I still need to be able to shoot and do all that stuff, but I want to feel like a woman and just find that confidence. And so I feel like if you watch the progression of my branding, I've been getting closer and closer and closer, but I feel like this last set, I'm like, okay, I nailed it.
They're stunning. You're
like
beautiful.
that's it right there. Yeah.
But I think that we've earned that as women, especially when our kids are at an age now where they're, they can get themselves around a little bit better. We don't have to worry about having a diaper bag with us all the time.
Right.
That we're allowed to be like, okay, you know what? I can. And we're still young enough to where we can put some stuff on and people will be like, all right, that looks good.
Right.
So,
and I think it's getting outside of the what should I be wearing to like, what do I want to wear? And then what feels good?
Yeah. I mean, I'm 50. I just turned 52 on January 14th.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. And what a 52-year-old should be wearing according to like old thought process is certainly not anything I'm going to put on.
I feel like 50 is the new 40 and 40 is the new 30, right? And I just actually had this conversation with a friend of mine.
You know
I said,
what, though? I want you to hold that thought. I'm watching that clock because we're going to have to go to break.
Okay.
So don't let me forget. All right, we're going to talk about that. All right, we're going to run to break. When we get back, we'll have more BaaD Radio. Welcome back, and this portion of the show is brought to you by Liberty Property Inspections. Your home is one of your most important investments, so don't trust it to just anyone. LibertyPropertyInspections.net, helping you to protect your investment. And we've been talking with Joe, with Branding by Joe, for I guess that's two segments now, and we're having a great time. And I love hearing the backstory, and I love the fact that we've done some of your own branding. So that's that happens a lot of times, is that people work and help other people's businesses, but they're not really paying attention to their own.
It's so easy to put it on the back burner.
Oh yeah.
You put your clients first, and then your stuff comes, whenever there's extra time.
Well, we were talking a little bit about some of the reels and stuff that you've been doing, and so what was kind of been your inspiration behind those?
Walking the talk.
Okay.
So I think that's honestly what it comes down to. I'm encouraging my clients to show up, and there is so much power in the connection of being able to get your face and your voice and your message out there. And then with the reels, it just extends the reach so much further. And so I just committed to walking the talk. And I said, okay, if I'm going to ask my clients and encourage my clients to do this, I need to do the same.
Right.
So yeah.
There you go. Like I said, that's holding yourself accountable. And that's not always an easy thing to do, especially, like I said, when you have a busy life. So we are talking about the half-day session and things like that. So you said 4 different changes, right?
Yes.
That's a lot.
It is, but it's not.
Right.
And so I think it's one of those things where we can maximize the time. So I know that we're all busy. And what I love about my brand experience is that we're batch creating content. So you can show up intentionally, you block out a half day, and then you walk away with enough images to get you through the next 3 to 6 months so that you don't have to do it again.
Right.
So when I tell people you should show up consistently, a lot of times what they think is, and I hear, okay, I need to block out a half an hour every day or an hour. I'm like, no, you don't. And that's not going to be realistic, because if you're trying to put your clients first and you're trying to balance all the things,
right,
to also then create content, anything daily is going to be a lot for most people.
Yeah, trust us, we know.
Yes. And so even if you're doing it for other people, right, it's just it can be overwhelming. And so my whole thought process behind batch creating the content is that you can be intentional. We know the strategy, the game plan. You batch create the content, and then you're on your way.
Right.
And so it's the 4 different looks, which can also turn into a few more, because if there's a jacket, we can take the jacket off, and that's actually an extra look, right? And so it just gives you, we call it photo fatigue. So if you're using the same exact picture over and over and over again, or the same exact outfit over and over again, people start to realize it and they don't stop. I'm used to it. I'm going to keep going.
Right.
So you put a new picture, you put a new outfit, something changes. It gets people to stop the scroll. And even for ourselves, I know for me, when I go to use content, I'm like, gosh, I've been using this picture for so long. And then when I get the new ones, I'm excited to use them. It excites me to get it out there, which makes it easier for me to create content and share, because I'm happy, and I feel like, I guess it gives me the confidence. So when I have new images, then I can't wait to get more stuff going to show it with everybody. And I think that's the piece that lights me up for my clients, because I want to give them the tools. So when I say show up consistently and they go, I don't have a good picture of myself. Exactly. Let's fix that.
Right.
And then now you walk away with not only a good picture, you walk away with a library,
right,
a folder of pictures.
And does it make you so happy when you're scrolling and you come across a picture that you did?
I feel like a kid in a candy store.
I know.
Like I'm like, yes, they're using it.
When I see a reel that's been posted from the show, I'm always like, oh, because once they get to a certain level, just when you're like doom scrolling, all of a sudden there's your show's in there, and I'm like, that is really cool.
It's so exciting, and it's double-edged for me, because one, I'm getting to see my work, but then I genuinely am excited because they're getting out there. And so I'm like, stop being the best kept secret and start sharing your message, because somebody is waiting for you to have the confidence to show up and say that you exist.
Right.
So I'm like, you have to let them know you're here.
Yeah.
And that's what I love.
I saw one of Hiroko's the other day, and it was like 13,000 views, because she's got crazy followers.
Oh my gosh, she does.
And it made me feel just, like you said, a kid in a candy store. I felt so proud, and I was so excited. And then I was reading the comments, and it was like, how do I follow this woman, blah, blah, blah. And so I commented it. I'm like, this is her Facebook page, and they are like so thankful. But it was just, like I said, it is a very, very fulfilling feeling. So once the pictures are all done, how do you get them to? I mean, like you said, you encourage them to use them on socials, and I mean, how does that next step work? Because you like you said, you can lead the horse to water kind of thing. Like you can give them all these things, but.
Well, that's actually led to why I've been adding more services. So I share the pictures via an online gallery link that they can download to their computer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think some people, and I encourage you to update all of the things. So update your website, update your social media, update your profile pictures. If you're in any networking groups, send them an updated headshot so that it's fresh, it's new, it's relevant. And I think what I'm finding is that a lot of people just don't have the time, and I'm guilty of it. You know, I just told you I updated my website pictures finally. I had pictures done 2 months ago, and I just got them up on my website.
Yeah, I know.
Because it becomes like that back burner. But yes, it's honestly the whole point of getting brand photos done or doing anything with your brand visuals is so that you can actually share it. So it needs to come off of your computer and get uploaded into all the places so that people can see it. But that's where I think it was a missing piece. And so now I'm trying to connect the dots and help people. So I'm like, okay, if you need assistance with updating your website, or if you need assistance with email campaigns or social media or whatever the case is, let's talk, because I've either got partners that can help you.
Oh yeah, BNI.
Or, right.
Yeah, I use so many people in BNI.
We can do it. But I think ultimately my intent with the photos is that you get your message out there. And so then it's taking it to that next step. So I will send an email with photos done, now what? And here's a checklist that you could follow as a reminder.
Really?
But then it's, whether or not they do it, it's like you said, you can lead a horse to water.
Yep.
But it's that extra step, and it's just time consuming. So my goal is to remove as much as I can off of the to-dos. And how can I help? So how can I help remove that to-do list for you and actually help you get out there into the world?
Yeah. I mean, because BaaD Marketing does social media management, I do talk with a lot of our clients that just don't understand what it, you know what I mean? Like I don't want to say they don't get it. They know they need social media presence, but they don't really know why or how to make it entertaining. And so that's a lot of our job, is to be like, okay, what can we do that's going to bring eyes to you?
Well, and there's some strategy to it being consistent. So what I'm seeing right now is a lot of people are doing pieces. And so they'll come to me and they say, I know I need better photos so that I can, when somebody, I get a lot of, someone asked me for a headshot and I need it updated, or somebody asked me to update, I'm updating my website and I need to get new photos for the website, or I'm going to do a social media campaign. Fantastic. Let's do that. But then if they don't have all the pieces together for consistency, it doesn't work. And so I'm doing visual brand audits right now. And one of the questions that people are asking me is, what do I do? And I go, first step is consistency. Your logo should be the same across all the platforms. So if you change one, please go change it everywhere. If you change your photos, change it everywhere. Because that way when someone lands on it, until we get to the place that we're the Nike where someone's going to recognize the swoosh no matter what color or where it is, or like the Target circle. But the reason that they're able to have brand recognition is they're consistent.
Yeah.
And
across board.
It's across the board. You walk into a Starbucks, you've walked into a Starbucks for a reason. The aesthetic, the colors, the logo. There is no question you're in a Starbucks. And so for me, it's the same thing with brands. As you're trying to establish and increase your visibility and your credibility, you have to be consistent. And
I agree.
Across all of it.
1,000%. And we run across that a lot as well. It's like you have your website looks this way, then you do promotional flyers that look this way, and then and you're just like, okay, you're not brand building at all here. In fact, like I said, I would never have even put two and two together that this website is attached to this promotional flyer, because not even the same colors,
right?
So headshots is a big thing. Are headshots coming more back around?
No, I don't. And I say I headshots because when people ask me, but I'm like, you don't need headshots. What you need is brand photos. You need more than just a headshot. A headshot's going to do very little for you other than give you that one picture to put into your BNI profile or update your Instagram, and LinkedIn profile picture. So I think it's getting to the point now where people are realizing, and we kind of got away from it, and especially in the social media piece, where it went a little bit more organic, and you started to see just random reels and, a lot of the pictures of people half mouth open. We're getting back more into the curated look where it's more consistent and it's more elevated.
Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. One thing that does drive me crazy is like the pixelated pictures. So are we going to break? Because it says 2 minutes and 14 seconds. All right, guys. Well, we're going to go to break. When we get back, we'll have more BaaD Radio coming up. Welcome back. And I wanted to give a huge thank you to several of our sponsors. Forge IT Consulting, providing a fully outsourced IT department with a personal touch for small business. Get Me Automated. Ashley and her team are ready to make your life easier through automation. And also a big thank you to Osteopathic Health of Orlando. Dr. Sean St. Mary has been on the show once before, and he's just a fantastic guy. So if you're looking for an alternative to, life in just modern medicine, and you want to be healthy and you want to know why, then I definitely recommend that path. I don't know, Joe, what do you think? What are your thoughts on the whole health what's been going on in the health world, where it's like where people are moving away from the regular, general practitioners, where you go to the doctor, you pay your copay, you see him for 6.5 minutes, he gives you a pill, and you move on. So you feel the change, right?
I think of just becoming more educated in the fact that it doesn't necessarily mean medicine is a solution, and really starting to understand the root of it.
Yeah.
And I think there's practitioners out there that are marrying both, because I do believe that you still need antibiotics in certain cases.
Yeah.
And I do believe that certain times medicine is going to be the answer, but there's also underlying issues that you can address without medicine. So I think that's why there's been such a push. We're starting to get more into that, more organic. What can we do?
I love it.
And it's more than just give me a pill.
Right.
What can I adjust?
I absolutely love it. The insurance companies have put so much restriction on just your general doctors nowadays that it's everything from what medications they can prescribe to you to how long that they can see you.
It's insane.
Yeah. And what they're going to cover and what they're not going to cover. And they'll cover a medication that's like highly addictive and all these other things, but yet they're not going to cover something that is generally going to make you feel better. So I don't know. Like I said,
it's made it too fast too, because I think sometimes you can't get to the root of the problem without asking more questions. And I know that there's been several instances where in conversation I've said, oh, and by the way, this may not be related, but this hurts. And the doctor's like, oh, actually, that is super related. That could be this, where if it's going too fast, you miss it.
Well, Dr. St. Mary, his consultation is 1 hour long.
Oh, wow.
I know, right?
Lots of questions.
He's in Baldwin Park. Highly recommend him. But let's get back to you. So you're Joe with Branding by Joe, and we've been talking about the branding experience. And so, some people would generalize it and say you take photos, but what you really do is so much more than take photos.
It's visual storytelling.
Visual storytelling. I love that. So let's just talk about like how people can get in touch with you. What are some of your favorite types of clients to work with?
So getting in touch with me, brandingbyjoe.com. I'm on all the socials, Branding by Joe, no E. So super easy.
No E. Remember that, guys.
As far as my favorite clients, ultimately, my absolute favorite are people who've already established. They are successful, or they're finding success, but they're still finding it a hustle. And I hear a lot of times, I'm doing all the things, but it's not reaching the right people all the time. I am getting some of the right clients, but I'm still getting a lot of the wrong clients. And then we take a look and there's just inconsistencies, or their brand doesn't align. And so I start to ask questions and I'm like, okay, why do you have these colors? I just liked them.
Okay.
Or so-and-so used them and they were doing really, really well. So I copied their website, their colors, all the things, because it was working. So let me just do it. And that's where I go, that's fun. Now let's make it about you. So let's make your colors, your logo, your website feel and reflect who you are. And that way, you talked about building trust. A lot of my content that's out there represents who I am. So I have a lot of clients who come to me saying, I've been watching you and I feel like I know you. And that's the point. You want them to feel like they have a sense of who you are before they get on the phone.
Right.
So those are the clients, the ones that like picked a template website because it was pretty, or because their inspiration that got them into the field, it's working. And so they made it look like that. And then they're finding that they don't feel like it's aligned or it's outdated. And that's where I love to come in and I say, take it to the next level.
Right. Well, I get it. Like your website, you use a ton of stock photos. And I mean, we all know what stock photos. In fact, Ann and I were talking about this earlier about like just moving away from AI as much as possible, because to me, it's a turnoff. Like if I get to somebody's website and I see just a bunch of AI generated photos and when I see no photos of the actual team or stock video or photos, I'm not impressed.
Well, and that's, people want to know who they're working with. And so it's even as simple as those of us who put a picture on an email. You're creating a connection because they get to see your face. And then now you feel more connected to somebody when you can see what they look like. And it's giving that opportunity. And yes, the stock images, people are starting to really get turned off by going to a website and you realize very quickly what's a stock photo versus something, I call them custom stock images because we need fillers. We need those things for our website. But it is so much nicer when it's your hands, your stuff as your stock images versus one that someone can get off a website.
Right.
That's made for that.
Yeah, I've seen. I mean, obviously, I work with Ashley with Get Me Automated, and I see her new ones come out every time. I'm always excited when I see her new ones. And this last time I saw the ones that were of her hands holding her pad. To me, that pad is like her.
She's always got it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like her symbol. I guess you could say it's the one thing like people. I'm always going to know she's going to have that.
She's going to have her iPad with her.
Right.
Well, and Ashley's one of my subscription clients, so that's a lot of fun because we get together every 3 months.
Oh, let's talk about subscription then. Okay, so people can actually have a subscription.
Yes, so they can do a subscription with me, and depending on their need and how much time they want to spend, we can do a 3 month or every 4 to 6.
Okay.
But when you commit to doing multiple sessions, you get additional photos, you get a lot of bonuses.
Sure.
So I give discounts, and so it's the best bang for your buck.
Mm-hmm.
And then the beauty of it is that we work together, and each time we work together, we're able to create better stuff because I've gotten to know you better. We can get past the everybody needs these. So usually the first session is we're telling your story, but I'm giving you the baseline of where you need to start. And then the next session, we can build on that.
Right.
And so it's new outfits, new stories, really getting to know you. And Ashley's been amazing because when we first started, she was so nervous.
Yeah.
And then this last session that we did her fourth one about a month ago, and completely different person. It was so much easier to capture her. We got so much more content. Yeah. And then we were just able to be much more strategic because I've gotten to know her better and we just have the time.
Yeah. Well, she's come out of her shell a lot as well. I mean, she comes on the show once a quarter too. And that was one of the things that it was hard initially because she was so soft-spoken. But now I'm like, you're going to have to talk clearly but yes, she has come out of her shell so much. But that was one of her resolutions to herself last year.
Yes.
And you've helped her a lot do that, and being on the show, I think, has as well. And so she's utilizing herself to sell her business.
And it's the personal branding. It's the people want to know. Yes, it's getting away from they just want to know what you can do for them to letting them know who you are.
Yeah.
And we know this. We do business with those that we know, like, and trust. But for some reason, so many people have a hard time translating that to, oh, then I have to show up in my marketing and all those pieces. And the people that are realizing that and turning that dial, their businesses are taking off. And I'm like, you don't have to do that much different. It's the eliminating some of the hustle because your brand starts to work for you.
Well, you managed to make everybody look beautiful, and it's not the camera, it's you, because it's like when I see these pictures, they look like that person.
Yes.
They don't look like glamour shots where it's that person plus all the stuff that they don't normally wear. There's no makeup that wasn't there. Does that make sense? Like
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
I want them, it's the authenticity. So I'm a lifestyle brand photographer. It's not fashion. There's a place for fashion, but I want people to feel like when they send an email or they update their website. And I think Ashley even said that she got a client that goes, oh, you actually look like your photo. And so that makes me laugh because I'm like, yes, I mean, how many of us don't look like our photos anymore? And I think this is the byproduct of the branding is that it gives the clients the confidence to show up and not just in their business. I had another Carrie with Certified Best Roofing was one of my clients. And she mentioned that because of working through the process, working with the stylist and doing all those things, it's allowed her to really step into who she is. And then it's made networking that much more significant. And, those are the pieces. Like I had another client that said, I rediscovered my spark just from the brand session. It's being able to rediscover who they are. And there's no value I can put to that.
Right. I was looking at Allison O'Baker. So she was on the show because she doesn't wear a lot of makeup, but yet she looked so beautiful. And, but again, you didn't put lashes on her and all the things. You made her look like her. So give everybody all of your contact information because you guys, you need to book a session with Branding by Jo.
Oh, thank you. I would love it. And if you don't know where to start, let's chat and I can help. But it's brandingbyjo.com. No E, just J-O. And Branding by Jo on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest, all the things. Branding by Jo.
Thank you for being here. And a huge thank you to all of our sponsors. And thank you for tuning in. Have a great week.